Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Mueller, I want to start off today by associating myself with Senator Durbin's remarks and by commending you for your tremendous service to this nation. It is in large part because of your tenacity and leadership that we haven't seen another major terrorist attack on our soil since 9/11. That is no small achievement, and I want you to know that I'm grateful for all you've done to reshape the FBI's counterterrorism strategy. But I don't think it should come as a surprise that your department has been heavily criticized over the last 10 years for significant misuse of the department's surveillance powers and for other major civil liberties violations. I think you've done an extraordinary job, but I also believe that term limits exist for a good reason. Term limits are like sunshine laws. They force us to bring in new leaders who take a fresh look at things, and that is almost always a good thing. I'd like you, if you could, to take a minute to talk about some of the most controversial aspects of your tenure or of the FBI during your tenure. How do you think you've addressed the problems that arose with the FBI's misuse of the surveillance authorities granted under the Patriot Act and the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act? Specifically, I would like you to address the concerns raised by the Inspector General about the department's abuse of national security letters.
Let me separate national security letters out from the general discussion of surveillance. I do not believe that we have abused our powers in any way, with maybe one or two isolated examples and the additional authorities that have been given us under the Patriot Act over the years, and I don't believe the IG has found such substantial misuse. With regard to national security letters, we did not do what was necessary to assure that we were in compliance with the applicable statutes. It was brought to our attention by the Inspector General. As I know you were aware, national security letters now enable us to get not content, but information relating to the existence of a communication. And there was a statutory framework for that, and we should have set up a much more thorough compliance program to assure that we were dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and we did not. As soon as we learned of the IG's scrutiny on this and the problems that were pointed out, we moved to fix them. The first thing we did is make certain we had a new software capability and database capability that assured that all of our agents in seeking national security letters will have given all the information that is required under the statute. We put out comprehensive guidance to the field and additional training. We assured the national security letters are signed off on by the chief lawyer in each of our divisions. But perhaps as important, if not more important, is we set up a compliance program to address not just security letters, but other areas such as national security letters where we could fall into the same pattern or habits. And so the national security letters, I believe we addressed appropriately at the time, and it was used as a catalyst to set up a compliance program that addresses the concern in other areas comparable to what we had found with national security letters.
In addition to concerns about those concerns, a number of civil liberties groups have raised serious questions about the FBI's misuse of the material witness statute, mishandling of the terrorist watch list, and infiltration of mosques and surveillance of peaceful groups that have no connection to criminal activity. If your term were extended, do you believe that you would be in a position to give these concerns a fresh airing without being mired in?
I'm not certain it needs a fresh look, because I am very concerned whenever those allegations arise. I will tell you that I believe in terms of surveillances of religious institutions, we have done it appropriately and with appropriate predication under the guidelines and the applicable statutes, even though there are allegations out there to the contrary. I also believe that when we have undertaken investigations, of individuals expressing their First Amendment rights. We have done so according to our internal guidelines and the applicable statutes. And so whenever these allegations come forward, I take them exceptionally seriously. I make certain that our inspection division or others look into it to determine whether or not we need to change anything. And I will tell you that addressing terrorism and the responsibility to protect against attacks brings us to the point where we are balancing day in and day out civil liberties and the necessity for disrupting a plot that could kill Americans. And it's something that we keep in mind day in and day out. The last thing I would say is that as our agents go through our training classes, the importance of adhering to the Constitution, civil liberties is drilled into them day in and day out. Every agent, and this was established by Louis Freeh, my predecessor, goes through the Holocaust Museum before they become a new agent to understand what can happen to a police power that becomes unreined and too powerful. And so we take that and those allegations very seriously.